Have you ever heard news that can instantly transform your daily life? Today, Makiviak, I have just such news for you. The same lower house of parliament has announced a new decision regarding pensions, and its consequences may surprise even the most experienced seniors in Poland. These aren't minor changes or empty promises. These are concrete decisions that could impact the amount of your benefits and how they're paid.
But be warned, if you only watch a fragment of this recording or skip a few minutes, you won't fully understand how this decision works and what exactly you need to do to benefit. Many of you are wondering right now whether this means higher pensions, whether all seniors will receive a raise or just a select few. The answer isn't as obvious as it might seem. The new regulations introduce both additional benefits and changes to the rules for calculating pensions.
In practice, this could mean several hundred zloty more per month, but only for those who meet certain conditions. Who exactly will benefit from this, and what can you do to avoid missing out? I'll discuss this later. This isn't just another political promise. The law has been passed and will come into effect in the coming weeks. For some, this means that benefits will be automatically recalculated by the Social Insurance Institution, ZUS, without submitting an application. However, in certain cases, you will be required to report to a branch and submit the appropriate documents. If you forget to do this, you could lose up to several thousand zloty per year. That's why it's so important that you watch this video to the end. Only then will you learn all the details and avoid costly mistakes. You might be asking why we held our breath when this is just another change to pensions. Well, this time we're talking about a decision that will apply to a much broader group of seniors than before. Even those who recently retired or are just a few months away from retirement can be covered by the new rules. This is the first time in many years that the changes being introduced are both financially beneficial and realistically achievable for most retirees in the country. In this video, I'll explain step by step who qualifies for the increase, how ZUS will calculate it, what documents will be required, and most importantly, when you need to act. I'll also show you how to check if you're in the automatic recalculation group and how to ensure you receive the maximum possible amount. So please don't scroll, turn off, or watch in the background. Every minute of this recording could provide you with insights that will translate into real money in your wallet. And if you want to stay up to date with every change affecting seniors in Poland, click the subscribe button and turn on notifications. After all, it's your money, your rights, and your future. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened in recent days in the same lower house of parliament is one of the most important steps towards justice for Polish seniors in many years. This isn't another campaign promise. It's not a promise that could change. This is an adopted decision, a law that has a real impact on the wallets of hundreds of thousands of retirees and pensioners in our country. And we're talking about an issue that, for many of you, dragged on for years and seemed lost. Today, that chapter begins to close. Please don't stop watching, because if you do now, you might miss key details. Every element I'm about to discuss is important, and understanding the whole picture will allow you to fully benefit from this change. From 2009 to 2019, there was a problem that officials referred to as the June effect. It sounds innocent, but in practice, it was a mechanism through which thousands of people received lower pensions simply because they filed their applications in June. The system for calculating benefits in that month was based on less favorable indexation rates, which meant that the first payment and all subsequent payments were lower. It wasn't just a zloty or two. The differences ranged from 100 to even 200 zloty per month, which added up to enormous sums over the years. Worse still, no officials warned future retirees about this. People decided to retire without realizing they would fall into this trap. For many seniors, this was a double whammy. Firstly, the loss of money they were entitled to, and secondly, the realization that for years the state had failed to correct this mistake. The matter resurfaced in the media and the courts, but changes were only partially implemented.
Only now, after years of pressure and appeals, has the decision been reversed, stipulating that all affected individuals would receive compensation and a permanent raise. And it was this decision that was announced in the same lower house of Parliament. What does this mean in practice?
If you applied for a pension in June of 2019, SZOS will automatically recalculate your benefit as if you had submitted the application in May of that year. This is crucial as the rates in May were much more favorable. Thanks to this recalculation, your pension will increase by an average of PLN 160 to 180 per month, and in some cases, even 200 PLN.
This increase will apply from the moment the law comes into effect until the end of your life. And here's the good news. You don't need to submit an application. You don't have to run around to offices, fill out forms, or stand in lines. SZOS will automatically process this based on the documents you have. Everything will be automatic. This is especially important for people with limited mobility or who live far from SZOS branches. However, there is an exception. If your documentation was missing or your earnings data was incomplete when you applied for your pension, SZOS may ask you to supplement this information. Therefore, it's worth checking with your branch or PUS now to make sure everything is in order. This will help avoid delays in paying the compensation. Payments at the new amount are scheduled to begin in January 2026.
SZOS will have a maximum of 3 months to complete all calculations, meaning that every eligible senior citizen will receive the new, higher pension by March 2026 at the latest.
Furthermore, you will also receive compensation for the months prior to the law's effective date. In practice, this could mean that in the same month, both the increased pension and a one-time additional payment of up to several thousand zloty will be transferred to your account. This can be a huge boost to your household budget. But that's not all. The Sejm's decision also addresses the issue of indexation in future years. Until now, many people feared that if the recalculation were made now, subsequent indexations would be calculated from the old base, which would limit the real increase in benefits. However, the new law clearly states that the increased amount will become the new basis for calculations. This means that any future March or additional indexation will be calculated from this higher amount. This is important because over the next few years, it could mean hundreds of zloty more in your wallet without you having to take any action.
It's also worth noting that the change applies to both those already retired and those receiving partial benefits or those in the so-called mixed mode, where the pension is calculated based on different years of service and different forms of employment. All these groups will be treated equally, without exclusions. Even those who have since moved abroad and are receiving benefits from Poland to a foreign account will be covered by this recalculation.
SZOS will send them information by mail or electronically. Interestingly, the law also includes a safeguard mechanism for the future. From 2026, the indexation rates will be uniform throughout the year, so that the month of application submission will no longer affect the final benefit amount. This puts an end to the June effect once and for all. For many seniors, this proves that sometimes fighting for your rights, though long and tiring, can yield tangible results.
There's one more thing worth noting. The Sejm's decision also means the need to allocate additional funds in the state budget. According to estimates by the Ministry of Finance, the cost of the entire operation in the first year will be approximately 3 billion PLN.
This is a significant amount, but the government emphasizes that this money is not an expense, but rather a delayed settlement of obligations to citizens. This is not a gift. It is a return of what should have been paid from the beginning, said one of the MPs who drafted the bill. And it's hard to disagree. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment when you need to be vigilant. Although most of you will receive the recalculation automatically, it's worth keeping all your documents from SZOS and checking if the increase amount is correct. If you notice an error, you can file an appeal using a simplified procedure without court fees. This way, even if you make a mistake, your money will reach you faster. Therefore, I emphasize once again that to fully understand all the details, watch this video until the end. Every element has a purpose, and missing a single detail could mean you won't fully utilize this opportunity.